So the decommissioning principles: safety, stewardship, and engagement. I'm going to talk about these three, but before I do want to point out our songscommunity.com has a lot of good information of decommissioning, and I encourage people to go to that. So I'm going to start with safety. As I said in the last CEP meeting, safety has always been my top priority. My commitment to the CEP members and the public is that the SONGS team will safely and compliantly transfer used nuclear fuel from the pool to the pad. So this is a diagram of the Holtec ISFC. On this slide, you will see the latest status of pool to pad spent fuel transfer. The cylinders on the diagram show the canisters that have been safely downloaded. Since the restart of the SONGS Pool to Pad campaign on July 15th, we have safely downloaded 11 canisters. There have been no canister hangups. We've had a few underload alarms where there was incidental contact between the multi-purpose canister and the divider shell. The crew responded correctly as they were trained. They stopped, realigned the canister, and safely completed the download. To date, SONG has transferred 40 canisters with 37 fuel assemblies in each canister from wet to dry storage. Tonight, we will be transferring canister 41. We forecast to be complete the transfer of fuel transfer operations by mid-2020. Now, I do want to provide a personal observation I made 2 weeks ago in the middle of the night as part of the SONGS Management Observation Program. I was on the ISFC pad to observe the Holtec crew during stack up in the preparation for downloading of an MPC. I was on the headset with the crew so I could listen to the communication between the craft and supervision. I observed excellent command and control by the cast loading supervisor, good three-way communication between the members of the crew, and procedure compliance. And it was getting around 5 a.m. and shift turnover was at 6 a.m. And the cast loading supervisor made the conservative decision to stop here and turn over to the oncoming crew. These are the type of behaviors that I'm looking for. Next slide. So the pool pad transfer summary. As I previously stated, we achieved a major milestone of 1 million work hours without a serious injury. So the question is, how do we accomplish this? So to start with, every meeting at SONG starts with a safety moment. Furthermore, every time a worker writes a safety action request, the worker gets a follow-up from our safety specialist to ensure we address the employee concerns. The entire station continues to look out for one another and coach as appropriate when the wrong behaviors are observed. So a low threshold for the corrective action program, key to the success of the fuel transfer operations. We have made it very easy for the craft to simply write a comment card on any issue that they have. At the end of the shift, all comment cards are then entered into our corrective action program to be resolved. Every morning, the plant screening committee goes through every action request and assigns appropriate corrective actions to each and every problem. Early identification of issues and prompt resolution. This is a project, and we will have issues. The early identification ensures that we will find and fix our problems, and I will discuss some of these issues on the next slide. And schedule pressure is not an issue. Overall, we continue to make improvements to the process through worker engagement and oversight. And I'm pleased to see the continued focus on safety over schedule, which includes stopping work to ensure our actions are correct and make process improvements. Next slide. Okay, so I'm going to talk about these challenges that we had, and I want to point out this picture right here and what you're looking at. So if you look at it's a transfer cask, and inside of the transfer cask is the 37 fuel assemblies. On top of the high track, there is a shield cone, and if you look really closely, you see a slight tilt to the left on the shield cone. So this was noticed by a Holtec employee that the shield cone seemed to be slightly tilted. A conservative decision was made and work was stopped. This was a clear example of a good questioning attitude by our craft personnel. The next one is vertical cast transport diesel exhaust fumes. So a Holtec worker identified a concern that in some wind conditions, diesel exhaust fumes from the VCT could affect workers in close proximity. Again, we wrote an AR, placed the issue into our corrective action process, and Holtec took timely action to have the VCT vendor assess the problem and resolve the concern by modifying the VCT exhaust design. They basically raised the exhaust up. This was an immediate feedback to the Holtec workers. And the next two, the vertical cast transfer where tower height sensor cable failed and the Unit 2 cast train speed sensor broken bolt, both of these issues were discovered during pre-inspection walkdowns. These issues were entered into our corrective action process and repaired. Next slide. So a status summary. No serious safety or human performance issues. Continued good teamwork between Craft and Holtec supervision and Holtec supervision and SCE oversight. We have a healthy discussion between Holtec and ourselves on a daily basis to come to the right decisions. And a healthy and effective relationship between Holtec and SCE, some of the issues that Dr. Victor was talking about. We, Southern California Edison, are the licensee. Holtec is our contractor, and we continue to have a healthy and effective relationship. As an example, on November 5th, SCE held a 5-hour executive oversight board to review Holtec performance. The Holtec executives flew out to California, and we concluded that Holtec is performing well with 1 canister a week. And continuous improvement actions are in progress. Workers continue to fill observation cards, which get entered into a corrective action process, procedure enhancement ARs to continue to improve our process. So in summary, the revised Holtec loading procedures, the new equipment, load shackles and cameras, and the training to Holtec and SCE oversight is working well. Safety and compliance continues to be the SONGS team's top priorities, followed closely with workers having a low threshold for writing ARs and placing them into our corrective action program.